not a lawyer, just a plain man, but I told him one thing. I knew the Fiandaca family for many, many years. And his father, I know Kenny when he wasn't a lawyer. I value his honesty. He's a respectful guy. I know him before a lawyer, and he doesn't treat me any different now. He's the type of guy with simplicity. He won't make a big case if he goes my lawyer. He doesn't make a big case of things. The only thing he says, if you look into it, I'll let you know. It's very honest, very simple. And believe me, I think this will make a great judge. I greatly respect him and all his family.
Are there any questions? Thank you very much. Caesar A. Schiller. That's what I mean.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I had the good fortune of knowing Ken Fiandaca for almost a decade now. Just by way of background, I was an assistant district attorney in the Peabody District Court for approximately 4 years. I was a supervisor in the court. And I was a jury supervisor in the Salem District Court for a year. I worked in March for 2 years as well. I worked in the administration with Kevin Burke originally, and then subsequently Jonathan Blodgett. We've had cases as adversaries together. I couldn't tell you what the details of the particular cases are, or the outcome of the defendants, but the impression, what is impressive, and what I do recall, is my involvement with Attorney Fiandaca from our first meeting, the first case we had in Peabody. And again, it was a trial, to the outcome. But after the trial, we sat down. I got to know him on a personal level. I've since had other cases with him, both in Peabody and in Salem. And I'm not sure exactly what it is that the counsel looks for in a person. I thought about preparing something in writing last night. Then I decided against it because I thought it was easier just to speak from the heart. And in practicing for almost 10 years, you come across attorneys that have gone through this process and have attempted the same thing to try and get out and become judges. And some attorneys possess that legal acumen that clearly afford them the ability to be a smart, learned judge with respect to the law. Some attorneys also have the compassion that Mahoney spoke about, which Ken obviously does. Some attorneys also have common sense, and then there are some attorneys that have the judicial temperament that I know that this committee looks for. There are not many attorneys that have all three attributes. Ken Fiandaca does, and I've dealt with him on a number of occasions. He has, one of the things that struck me about him in dealing with him is that there was no nonsense. What you saw is what you got. He's a straight shooter. He's a zealous advocate for his clients, and we were adversaries. But there was absolutely no mincing of words. There was a quality of honesty in dealing with Ken that impressed me to this day. As I said, I've since worked with him on a number of cases, and throughout he's demonstrated consistent quality in his zealous advocacy of his clients. But more than that, it's not just a legal acumen, it's not just the ability to be compassionate, and it's not just the temperament, which I think is one of the strongest points here. That if the benchmark is judicial temperament, then he's the person for the job. But more than all of that, what he does possess is the ability, this common sense approach. He's after his bosses, he gets it. Not everyone gets it. And this is a person that is going to be an excellent judge. And I strongly support his nomination. I am humbled and I'm honored to be here on his behalf. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions? Thank you. Thank you very much. Is there anybody here who wishes to speak against this nomination? We're going to close that portion of the hearing, and now we'll take from you. Thank you, Counsel, for this.
Thank you for this opportunity to review before you to tell you a bit about myself. I'd first like to thank Judge Mahoney, my partner, Sandra, Mr. Toro, and Caesar, both for the willingness to appear before you today on my behalf and for their kind remarks. then, the district court was open for half sessions on Saturday mornings. And on many Saturdays, then I would accompany my dad to work. The building was quiet, very different from those few weekdays when I was up there. But even though it was quiet, people in trouble still came and went. And neighbors having problems with neighbors, landlord-tenant problems, people who had to brush with the law, and one way or another found their way into the court on a Saturday morning. And the same profane, sometimes violent people we've seen on the street corner on Friday night would be respectful and decent in court before respectful and dignified, to my young mind, somewhat severe judge. I learned that court